Okay, hello everyone. My name is Vitaliy Ivlev, and this is my first tutorial in English, a tutorial about materials, how to do this cool stuff, this cool material studies, like this one. It is mine. It is not cool, so if you want to see something really great and awesome, just go to internet and Pinterest and see some. But I give it as an example. And first of all, first two things I need to tell. This is my friend and kind of small mascot. His name is, I don't know his name. What is his name? And the second thing is that this tutorial, this video will be full of grammar mistakes and speaking mistakes, and excuse me for that for advance, because English is not my native language. And let me just go through that. So it is material studies. What I did in these assignments, I bring some material, some photos from internet, and analyze it photos, these photos, yeah, do some really render test as 3D program did though when you apply material to 3D primitive, if you are familiar with 3D program. And then I understand when I understand physics of material, how material works, I applied to some form. I did some sketch of character. It's not character for me, it's not creature. For me, it's several forms, more complicated than just simple sphere here. And I did this this small collection of forms, and assign material, apply material, not assign, apply material for those forms. So, and how to do this? How to I believe this stage is really hard for somebody. And the main 2 points is first, think as a 3D program, and 2, no physics. It's not right here hierarchy, yeah? It's not 2 and 1 and 2. It's similar things, similar importance, yeah? So you need to know physics, you need to know why do you do the thing, why do you pick this color, why do you change the color in the shadow, for example, and so on and so on. Physics, pure science. And then 3D program. It might sound funky, because 3D program was an invention of human, yeah, but now 3D program is really cool example and cool model of how we should think as designers and as painters, as artists. Yeah, you can just learn it easier watching on 3D program, on how it works. So if you familiar with 3D Max or ZBrush or some stuff like that, first stage, you open the program, you see some window, you model something. Yeah, you've seen this gray primitives, or not primitives, but models, and somebody do something, model. Eventually you got some model, gray model. Then you apply, maybe you apply lighting for that. Yeah, you place light sources on the model. Not on the model, but around the model, yeah. And 3, you apply some material to model. So gray model, no, not gray anymore, and now it's applied with material. And material usually has some sliders, and you can just do some adjustments of material to specularity, this small headings of sliders. And this process pretty much the same as we do painting in Photoshop or in real life. And so, what is the process of analyzing the material? And first of all, as a 3D program, we do form shading. So we have some form, we have some model. For example, we have some line art or line sketch. Firstly, what happening? And slow down. So you just do some form. You do it by kind of line art, using wrapping lines, these wrapping lines sections to understand the form, or you can just do it from using silhouette if you're kind of more advanced. And here we have, for example, simple form. It is a simple sphere, and you do. I've heard this called Lambertian reflection again, and you just do some lighting. Lighting with simple light theory. I won't explain it. I won't be explaining it here because it's kind of not so hard, and you can find a lot of sources with cool explanation. And eventually, in the end of this tutorial, I will give you some links and some kind of sources to understand it. So, simple sphere, just soft lighting without any kind of direct light sources, and without any specularities. Just simple material as for example, plastic or clay, something like that. This form is more complicated, so we need to kind of understand all this bump, or maybe it is a hole, or maybe it is a kind of crease. And again, the same thing, we do simple shading, and we just place light source from somewhere on top, not on top, but on top on the left, just kind of generic placement of light source, and you just do simple shading without any texture or something. And again, reflected light, we know about that. Yeah, with core shadow stuff. It's kind of not so accurate now, but I want to give you a main idea of how the process works. And then something more geometric, yeah? Cube. I mean, some form of some form of kind of distorted cube, and we treat it the same way. Do something, not do something, but do cool shading. Reflected light from the ground, and for example, these two guys, we need to separate them in order to show form right. And again, light source on top, so kind of top surface will be more lit, and something like that. Not so cool, but now I hope I gave you a brief idea. So, form. To understand the form, you can again use wrapping lines. What is wrapping lines? It is a kind of way of this small bug going around the form. Kind of funky explanation, but maybe it will be useful for somebody. Wrapping lines, it kind of runs around the form, so you just feel form. For example, in sphere, yeah, it's okay, but in these forms, it could be really useful to use it, because now we understand this all small bumps, all small form changings, and yeah, this is it. First stage, form shading, kinda Lambertian reflection, lighting, yeah, we know that. Then bump map. It's again from 3D program, you can apply some texture to some primitive, and you need to be aware of kind of scale of texture, because this is a 3D surface. It's not exactly the texture, yeah. It's not already yeah. The texture, again, language problem. It is kind of more about second material on top, but texture, it is something like this, or maybe this. Yeah, you see the small bumps on top of this banana surface material. And again, yeah, here we have primitive, and you do this again, Lambertian reflection. Oh, yeah, Lambertian, simple shading, let it be so. The simple shading, so core shadow, yeah, just kind of light side, and reflected light from the ground, and contact shadow when object contacts with the ground. Okay, let me get time and show how I did this sphere. In case somebody don't know, I just did this selection, fill it with gray, then I copy that with Alt and scale it, not scale it, but change form, but in order to do some really fast shadow symbol kind of. Then his duration, brightness, lightness down, place it, yeah, place it right, and then Gaussian blur, how it called, how it pronounced, yeah, small Gaussian blur, and some motion blur in order to blur it in kind of light direction. Yeah, this way. I don't know. Do you see my mouse or not? This way, not this way, but this way. Light from this way, from that side, and blur it. Okay, and then again I copy it, scale it down, and again decrease lightness, so I can have this kind of contact shadow on the ground. And then I merge it down, so I have all shadow here. Maybe I just erase, kinda do some shadow fall off this shadow when it kinda lose its opacity now. And again, I have now my material on separate layer and my shadow on separate layer. It is really important because now I can just work with this separately. It's really convenient. So, brief introduction how to do that, and back to bump map. So we talked about bump map. I did this again, simple shadow, and bump map. Two ways. You can just paint it from. Oh no, let me just clear some space here. And for example, two ways to do that on this stage. First way is when you directly paint bump map. So you have some kind of texture you want to apply, and you get some brush and you start painting. For example, you may do another layer on top where it is, yeah, and you can with Alt click in between the layers. So this is a sphere, this is sphere, and this is a new layer on top. Alt click in between, it linked, and I can just kind of paint in this layer, yeah, and I start to draw the texture, draw this light shapes. It is a kind of long process, and I did it with its textures, all these textures. This one, I didn't use texture, but it is okay to use texture. I'll show you in a minute. So you do this pretty much on top of the sphere, and two main important things to say here. First, it is a kind of common thing in painting, but not everybody, yeah, not so many people be aware about that, aware about that. We don't just paint like, so more paint, do more painting, yeah, but we are aware about silhouettes of light shapes, yeah, light and shadows shapes. So, for example, what I mean that we have the stones, for example, this stone, and this stone, and we not just apply a bunch of this, yeah, to material, to pretty much every drawing, but we want to watch for light shapes. So, for example, this gray 50 what, 50 gray, yeah, 5 gray, it is, I know, we can see that it must have clear silhouette, as it is in this picture, in the original picture of texture. So see, silhouettes of shapes, and you need to understand that, and you need to apply that sorry, to your sphere. So in a kind of sketch, in the first stage of painting texture, you can just throw a bunch of stuff on top, but then you need to do this clean up work and define all silhouettes. Oh no, what's happening? Okay, so define all silhouettes inside. Kinda first you bring everything on table, yeah, and then you just remove all and leave only important things. And again, second point is to watch silhouette of whole thing. So you see, if we have this rock material in reality, in real life, in sphere, for example, yes, sphere, it won't be having this clean edge, yeah, this ideal edge. It would be rough. And don't forget to do it on your kind of material, in your painting. So rough, and do right silhouette for that, because silhouette is really important here when you just doing this textured material. Yeah, don't forget. And if you're in a hurry, or maybe it's really okay to do this stuff, to bring this texture image, and scene layers, I just apply it inside, and I do grayscale, desaturated, and I do some warp work, so it will be following my original form. And yeah, I do that. Or you just can use spherize filter, I believe it's called so. And you do something like that, and you start to work on top of that. So you just bring your core, how does it called? Core shadow, yeah. Again this core shadow. And you just paint on top. You just gave a little help to yourself, but again it needs a lot of work in terms of complete warp around. But you already have something to do. You not just again doing from scratch and just painting on top. A lot of work again, yeah, a lot of work, but it's funny. And try to simplificate it. At least it is a just simple material test, and you don't need to kind of do every little scratch. Just understand how it works, what light shapes inside it, and after that apply it to your character, and there you can just dig into details and do every crazy things, yeah. But now try to understand the material. So bump map, you applying texture to that. And third step, it's local color and cover of the light. Local color. Okay, now you can switch on light, or you get into street. For example, this is kind of street setup, yeah. Blue sky and some kind of yellowish ground. And what I need to say now is that you don't need to start from grayscale version and apply texture on grayscale version. Actually, these paintings I did colored from start, so it's just personal preferences. For example, somebody who can't work with color from the very beginning, they just can do grayscale version with bump map first, and then use an adjustment layer or some another ways. They can colorize it and get the same result on third stage. So third stage, local color. It is a color of object in a kind of white light, in a not so bright light, in a I don't know. I need to bring. I should have bring some photos here, but local color. Let me show you. For example, this is local color. Oh, no. Forget to lock transparency. Local color. Just in the mid, in a simple environment, in a white light, not bright light, and then again lighting. Lead side, and if we have a little warm light, we just warm it up a bit, and again shadow, and again all this physical stuff you can see, you can watch in the sources I will give you in the end of the video. But now, local color and kind of color render of colored object. As I'm talking about material, it is again simple plastic material. Again, don't forget about shadow. Shadow no more gray now, because it is lit by sky, and it is maybe not so blue. This kind of mix of blue, so of color of sky and color of ground, some kind of mix. And again, it kind of lit by our object, by reflected light from our from our object. And again, contact shadow here. So we have a simple material. Really important to know physics. So white light bounce into the object. If object is, for example, red, as we have now, red light bounce from the object, and all another light waves from white so absorbs, and some sunlight reflect to the object, and we have this. We don't have it now, but we have it now. We have this bounce light, a little bit of bounce light from the ground, and maybe not so extreme. Oh, I need to keep simple. Oh, not simple, but not too long. I need to keep this lesson not too long, yeah. But so many detail. And again, some light reflects back from the object to the ground, to the shadow, especially to the shadow, and we have this reddish reflection on shadow. So, color curve, a really important thing. That here we have this color curve. Look at the triangle. All objects kind of more saturated in the half shadow, yeah, it's called half shadow, and kind of less saturated in lead side and shadow side. So you need to keep this curve. For example, because in the opposite example, for example, let's just break this curve. For example, we have light half tone here and light, for example, this, and it's kind of looks dirty, looks kind of strange. It's not cool. But when you start from Not so saturated, not so saturated, just a little bit. Maybe it is a gray object, for example, this saturated, but you want to follow this curve. For example, shadow side and light side, lead side, yeah? Lead side. And with that, lead side and shadow side. Color curve, really important. More about color curve in Sam Nielsen's advanced lighting class. Again, I studied there, it is cool. So, transparency. Really important to know how transparent is your object. So, bring this guy here and three kind of situation. For example, if it is not transparent, it is okay. It is just it now. Sorry. So subsurface scattering. It is a situation where maybe let me just skip through that. For example, not transparent here and not completely transparent, but really transparent. So we bring opacity down. Technically, bring opacity down, bring opacity of shadow down, because really transparent object won't give us this crazy shadow, crazy dense shadow. Oh, what it is? Ah, yeah, forgot to do that. But we have this contact shadow, still have this contact shadow. Give me my airbrush, and I don't know why. Okay. Again, we still have this we need to have some kind of contact shadow, because it's really important. Maybe not so bright, not so red. And again, what's main thing? We see objects behind it, and these objects, where it is, these objects may be a bit distorted. Yeah, this is the objects. No. Sorry, give me a second. These objects. Okay. Let me just do this thing. For example, this is the objects, and no, it's not so cool. It could be distorted, and it depends again from the material. Whether it is, for example, plastic bottle, or it is a glass, or it is some crazy kind of glass here with crazy distortion, and it really depends on material, on each individual case, and it is a space to research, and really hard to navigate through layers. Shame on me. I needed to do it right. Should have, but now. So let me just distort it on the back. For example, yeah, distortion. Some how to do it. Okay, just some kind of distortion. See the idea? Yeah. Okay. And then again, some really important things is the transparent objects less transparent on sides here, because on sides, and more transparent on the middle, because on sides we have more material. Yeah. So if we can just imagine that we are standing there, and we see on the object, in the middle of the object we just have this thickness of material, and in the side we have this thickness of material, and more dense. So you just want to kind of erase the center of material, so it will be not so dense in the middle. And again, depending on material, usually we have some kind of reflection on transparent material, so we have the specular reflection, and we have maybe some kind of, I will be talking about that in a minute, but we have this kind of reflection maybe of environment, some kind of environment. And what's really important about these materials transparent. It is acoustics, usually on shadow. Again, read this in a or see Sam Nielsen's advanced lighting course on scholism, and specular, not specular, how it called, I don't know. This kinda let it be specular on the another side of form, because it works like big lens. Yeah, it is kind of so. So I hope I gave you some kind of idea here. And again, another cool stuff like reflections on the sides, this Fresnel stuff, Fresnel reflections, and you have this kind of transparent object, not perfect, but some kind of idea. Yeah, and back to subsurface scattering. Subsurface scattering, it's not completely transparent material, but it's kind of transparent because it has not so dense maybe surface, and light could travel a little bit underneath. For example, if you have side view, light travel a little bit underneath the surface, and only red waves travel back from the surface to our eye. And for example, let's bring some not so red material, but for example more orange material. Yeah, for example, something like that. For example, skin or wax, for example, really cool example. And the same thing, overall it is the same. So we have this color curve. Let me just fix it in a way. Color curve, no, log transparency again. But now red waves travel back from the surface, so light goes from there. No, man, what's happening? Why? Yeah, light girl, and it comes from half tone, for example, from half shadow, and half shadow is more reddish, more warm. Yeah, it's kinda how to say it, as it is do its own lighting from inside. Language problems, sorry, forget the word. Really, shame on me. So do half shadow more warm, maybe really extremely warm, not so extremely, but more warm. So you just can you can't compare, but it is something like that. Subsurface scattering, really cool stuff. And shadow will be warmer again. So it is about transparency. Then color variations. It's not kind of completely separate stage, but it is something. It might be kind of confusing how to do this crazy color variations inside material, because a lot of materials have this green and 50 shades of green, yeah, and there's material underneath. And yeah, if you want to do some material underneath, you just do several different materials. For example, I just change color and I just do mask, and you bring mask back. Let me just, yeah, for example, this one, and you bring mask back, and you kinda has this color variations, crazy color variations. Erase it, work with it as you want. So, and then you can just again back to normal mode and paint on top. For example, I don't know, do some cool stuff on top. So color variations. several separate materials and separate layers with mask, or just do adjustment layer. Again, it is cool, or just bring something really, I don't know what. Let's do something, man. Okay, it is about color variation because it was confusing for me. The main point is when you can't do all the same at once, just do it separately. Just do first material, for example, and then do another material. Don't try to do it all together if you can do it, but try to do it because it's really fun, it's really cool, and it is okay. Reflectivity, and it's pretty much yeah, the final of this process. Reflectivity, really, it's all about specular and again it is again one slider, how reflective it is. So it is a non-reflective surface, no reflection, and completely reflective as a chrome material. Yeah, it is a kind of chrome mirror. It hasn't its own local color, it's only reflection, and a lot of degrees, how to say degrees, yeah, in between. So your material could be a little bit reflective or more reflective, but has its own color. Just decide it, or just you know, do it according to your reference. And the main point here is reflections usually done on top of a layer. So you have this how to say it, form shading, yeah, with local color, and then you bring another layer and do reflections. For example, you need to do specular reflections. It's kind of generic symbol of reflected object. So you need its reflection of light source, yeah. So for example, if you have this simple bulb, and we need to do this small white dot, and oh wow, our material already seems like it is reflective, some kind of metal or wet surface. But if you has, for example, if you have some kind of window, you need to do some more complicated specular reflections. Now you need to do reflection of window. Not so complicated, but need to remember about that. Yeah? Yeah. And not only window will be reflected, but a whole environment. So for example, if our sphere is on a white table, this is not white, but it is light, for example. At least it is white. You need to bring reflection of this white table into this sphere on top, and you will work with it. Yeah, reflection of shadow, not so extreme, but some, yeah. And so reflection of environment, for example, and you need to know what is around your object. So for example, if we have some bottle standing here, it needs to be reflected, and it needs to be reflected, and more, it needs to be warped around the form, because reflections is warped around the form of object. For example, if we have at least us looking at the sphere, we will have reflection of us, but not on this sphere maybe, because it's kind of red sphere, but on chrome material it will be. So an idea, so you understand. For example, if we are not on table but on site, and we have this white rocks around, we just can do this. And Fresnel effect it is when again it's kind of with transparent objects, when objects is more reflective on how to say it, on side, yeah. So closer to edges it is more reflective, and in the middle it is kind of less reflective. Yeah, something like that. More about reflectivity in Scott Robertson book How to Render. A really great book, the greatest book about reflections, I believe. Reflections and materials overall, but reflections to the kind of main, I don't know, cup of tea. And what else? For example, hair. It is pretty much all what you need. Yeah, I believe, yes. So, but hair is kind of separate thing. It's called fibers in ZBrush, for example. And I don't know, I believe it is a lot of tutorials how to paint hair, or it could be not hair. For example, it is kind of small hair, yeah, some fuzzy, or it is maybe some kind of branch, I don't know, crazy space material, or another thing, and you just paint it. I needed to to say it because it's not I don't know, some cheats for that. You just paint it using, for example, masks. For example, you paint this silhouette of hair, and then you lock transparency and you do some kind of shading. And you need to understand again physics of, for example, human hair, because human hair by itself has some really funky properties, physical properties. And again, try to maybe Google it. It has two specular, one more cooler specular, and the second one's warmer. Yeah, need to do this on top, and again work on top. I don't know, I don't have some tricks to say about that, but I needed to say about that. And use a lot of brushes. It's okay in this stage to use brushes to speed up your process. For example, for fuzziness, just bring some kind of bristle brush. Where it is bristle brush? Yeah, for example, this, and you do this fast kind of symbolic, bring some fuzziness here, and just, for example, then you erase it, or you bring some more precise brush and you do some separate hairs on top. So pretty much process it is this kind of process. And again, a lot of space to imagination variations. See on animals, this colored hair, this color variations on here and hair, I don't know, some pattern. Really try to explore it. Really cool, really inspiring. And again, other properties, really important to know, and again connected with physics. For example, water. Yeah, water depends on how deep water is. It changes. First of all, it changes its color, and then two, it is reflective material. So Fresnel effect more to kind of side. It is more reflective here, more reflective here. See, reflection of sky, and then less effective, less reflective, close to us when we just can see through the water. Sky again, sky. A sky by itself, it's really complicated scene. Not complicated, but it's kind of tricky scene. Human skin, again, really we have a specular reflection, we have subsurface scattering, and we can see something on top and underneath. What I'm talking about, on males and maybe on females in some way. We have more cool tones on lower part of our on our chin. Yeah, on our chin we have kind of this grayish tones because of hair on our chin. Yeah, kind of exaggerated. For example, more grayish on our nose and ears. We have this blood vessels, and it will be more red. And on our how to say it, forehead, yeah, it is kind of more yellowish. So human and human face especially, it's not the same, the one same skin color. It's not kind of some kind of pinkish. It has some different combinations of color, and it depends on physics. For example, this smoke, you can Google Tyndall effect, I believe. Tyndall effect. Look what it is, and you understand smoke. And a lot of car paint with this separate layers of paint. For example, this is how to say it, wax, yeah, on top, and paint underneath, and some particles in between. So really complicated, but it's really cool design element for your designs. So it is how it works, kind of main process of analyzing material and applying it to our spheres and our characters, forms, and some brief technical explanation how I really do and use Photoshop for painting. And important points, yeah. So first important points, warp texture around, yeah. So just cheat, yeah. Don't try to be to paint every wrinkle for your hand. Just try to speed up process and try to find ways to speed up process. So I already did this demonstration when you just warp texture around, and you not just warp and this is it, okay, I'm done. No, you just use it as a little help to yourself. Then you paint on top and finalize it. Then watch shapes, really important. Watch shapes, really important. Don't just do physical stuff and do some crazy shading inside. Even though it is right from physical point, it needs to be aesthetically cool. Yeah. So you need to have these cool shapes inside. It's kind of more paintery from painting. It's really about shapes, but it's really important. Many guys forget about that. Keep your shapes clean, keep your gradient inside shapes clean, and read Richard Schmidt, I believe so, Richard Schmidt, Ava Prima book, and you will know everything about shapes. Really cool book. So, what shapes? Use adjustments layer. Again, don't be just not educated and use a lot of, not all. I pretty much use hue saturation, color balance, and selective color for adjust colors on my spheres, on my pictures, on my illustrations, and make it look cool. So, what I'm talking about here is when it must look cool. So you can from several cases you just can go from physical believability, I believe, and make it just looks cool. Really kind of strange point, but just keep it in mind. Can't just explain it now, but I believe you got it. So, in the final of this video, two great sources. So, how to render by Scott Robertson. Yeah, how to render a book, really great, especially on reflective materials. A lot of demonstrations, videos, and a lot of stuff. And then schoolism, amazing place to get some knowledge, some cool knowledge from cool people, and especially for this presentation, how to say it, for this lesson now. Sam Newton, fundamentals of lighting, and lighting for story and concept art. Start from fundamentals of lighting, really physically basics of materials, much more complicated than this small video. 9 weeks tutorial with a lot of demonstration, so recommended. And it was Vitaliy Ivlev. Thank you for your time, thank you for your attention. I hope I helped somebody again. Sorry for my language mistakes and other stuff. And yeah, this is it. Thank you. Goodbye, man.